What's up? Nowstalgia Pod coming at you. This is our Game of Thrones preview, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
Can you believe it's been a whole year since our last one? Even more than that.
More than a year.
Yeah, like a year and 3 months.
Yep. Big deal.
Game of Thrones, shortened season.
I can't believe it's season 7.
Season 7.
Pretty nuts.
Yeah. So
I started watching it when season 2 was on. So I've been on this ride for a while.
I think I caught up for season 5. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
really?
It's been shorter for me, for sure. But do not regret it. Quite the stutter there. Just so you guys know, though, this is not going to be your weekly look at what's going on in pop culture because we are just going to be previewing Game of Thrones. So this is what's happening in the Game of Thrones world.
Full episode.
If you want to hear what's going on in pop culture and get our takes on it, follow us at Nowstalgia Pod, at Martin Swagger, at Sheeny World Peace. Maybe this is where you can put those.
Subscribe on YouTube. Help us out.
Over there.
Check out our Vince Staple review, Lord review, all that jazz.
Yeah, and our mid-year awards, which we did just last week. So, I guess there's a lot to summarize with Game of Thrones, so we're not going to be able to talk about everything. If you want a deep dive, we've been recommending Binge Mode, the Ringers podcast. But why don't we start off just by kind of checking in with the main characters, or characters who I guess are still living. You two are still living? All right, the Don, Jon Snow, King of the North.
Yes. The new King of the North. He's got he's kind of unified like that whole area basically, like in terms of like all the plots, right? Because the Vale, Sansa and Littlefinger brought the Vale Knights in, so they've been brought in. The Wildlings and Tormund, they're with Jon. All the Northern Bannermen have repledged their allegiance to him, right?
Yep.
And of course, Ramsay's dead. Right. So the North, at the moment, is all one happy family. Of course, the trailer alludes to Sansa and Littlefinger probably not being down with what's going down.
Right. I think that's the thing. So, penultimate episode, Battle of Bastards last season, Jon and Ramsay Bolton face off. Jon, thanks to Sansa's back dealings with Littlefinger, survives the battle, wins the battle, kills Ramsay Bolton. Well, I guess technically he put him in the dungeons.
Right.
And
Defeats him.
Sansa killed him. But maybe we should have said spoilers before, but I'm guessing if
you clicked on this video, I can't imagine you expected it or not to be spoilers. That's your own fucking problem.
But then in the last episode,
Ned died, if you didn't know.
He's officially named King of the North.
Right.
So
just like what happened to Robb at the end of season 1.
Yeah, usually that's not a position you want to be in.
If as far as our perspective as viewers, yes.
If you're a Stark, you don't want to be in that position. But is Jon a Stark?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Well,
will he ever be a Stark?
Probably. Well, yeah, probably not. The Robb Stark will does not exist in the show, which that was Robb's desire to make Jon a Stark.
Okay.
But they kind of got back to that where Stannis offered to legitimize him,
right? You
know, under his kingship, because Stannis always, of course, wanted to do everything right. But Jon turned that down, and then with Bran's, green seeing, figuring out that Jon isn't actually a Stark, by blood. He was really a Targaryen.
Right.
So, is he going to become Jon Stark? That's a good question. But I don't know if it actually matters because everyone's aligned with him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's leading the whole faction up there.
Yeah, and he seems to be the key piece to a lot of other pieces.
They're focused on what's on the other side of the wall. The Walkers, of course, he's already killed them, and with Hardhome, he's seen the Night's King and stuff. So yeah, he's woke to what's actually going on.
Yeah, the trailers show, and Jon's just arc in the show seems to be. He's the only one right now, maybe not the only one, but him and Sam seem to be the major ones who are like, hey, there's a bigger evil out here that we need to start preparing for. Whereas everybody else is still like, how are we going to take over the world?
Well, I think Sam, obviously he's way far away. He's in the south, in Old Town, at the Citadel, where they become maesters.
Right.
I think he's obviously going to have to do something important, right? They don't just send Sam away to just be there in the relative safety.
Imagine that, see episode 7 he comes back. So what'd you learn? Oh, nothing. Just read books for a long time.
So he's got to send a raven to, I assume, Jon,
right? Which
probably prompts their mission beyond the wall we see in the trailers. Which
maybe
they're surrounded by all the whites. Looks like suicide mission. Really stupid. What's he find out? Is it how to defeat the Walkers? Really something about the land of always winter, the Horn of Jeremoon, all these things. There's a lot more details in the books. You can deep dive on theories there if you want, because there's evidence for everything.
Or just go on Reddit.
Right. Also, Jim Broadbent, famous actor, was cast as Marwyn, who is a maester at the Citadel that Sam meets at towards the end of Dance with Dragons.
Those maesters seem a little stuck up. Last time Sam was there,
they don't like that magic. They're all about that science.
Yeah, but
I think Sam will push the plot or push decision making forward with something he figures out in that vast library.
He kind of has to, because it seems like where the show is headed is humans versus zombies, basically.
Right. I think that's what happens by the end of the season. It consolidated the human conflict to basically nothing.
So obviously humans do not have as many magical powers as these zombies seem to, these White Walkers. So Sam is going to have to do some deep digging, go into the old texts and find, okay, so how do we beat these guys? Because they were beaten before.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, maybe he finds out how to forge Valyrian steel. John confirmed that you can kill them with Valyrian steel when he cut one in half with Longclaw, sword he got from the old bear, the old Lord Commander. But or maybe how to he gets some wind that they want the dragon glass that's on Dragonstone or something. So he's definitely going to figure something out.
So jumping back to what's going on in the north, though. So we mentioned Sansa real quick and Littlefinger. Let's talk about them real quick.
Wild card.
Yeah, for real. Well, Littlefinger or Sansa?
Both.
For real.
Dark Sansa.
Yeah, Sansa is one of the more tragic characters, and it's finally like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be a tragic character anymore.
I actually really like her. I really like her arc. It just initially when we meet Sansa,
she sucks.
She's being a
teenage
girl who's in her fantasies, and unfortunately when that's done well, it's not very likable or endearing.
Yeah, her fantasies are maybe...
And then she became a victim for so many seasons after that.
Yeah, her fantasies are maybe stripped away in a harsher way than almost anybody else on the show, except for maybe Theon.
Right.
But
well, he's an asshole.
His are actually stripped away. But yeah, so Sansa,
she's developed more as she's grown more cunning. Initially, she knew that she had to start playing the game early on when she's like a captive of the Lannisters, but she wasn't very good at it still. Obviously, she's come a long way, and part of that's due to Littlefinger's influence and talking in her ear and poking her, telling her what to do.
And technically, because Jon Snow is a bastard of Ned Stark, or that's at least what everybody but people who have privy to the background knowledge believe.
Yeah.
So basically, Bran at this point.
Bran.
Yeah, basically Bran.
And Howland Reed.
Right. So other than those two, everybody thinks Sansa is next in line to take the throne in the north right now. So technically, she has a claim to it, which I have a feeling Littlefinger's going to keep needling her about.
Yeah.
But
definitely, maybe
moving me to an even better question: the other Stark, who has Needle, Arya, looks like she's heading north, man.
Don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
So you think Winter's just gonna settle in everywhere that quickly?
Well, no. I did. Arya?
Yeah. You see her on the horse in the trailer in the snow.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
See, I was just assuming she was gonna try and go after Cersei now.
Ah, interesting.
Because she's on her list. She's killed Walder Frey and Black Walder and Lothar. His sons.
It could be later.
She's
in the
motivated, but she's in the Riverlands, right? She's at the Twins. Who else happens to be in the Riverlands would be the Hound,
right?
Beric, Thoros, Emir, and a few other brothers. So they're there. Also, Brienne and Podrick just left Riverrun. Jaime lets them go. They're in the Riverlands. Arya probably meets with someone there. Brienne was looking for Arya for so long, right? But she also it would be nice for Arya to have a meeting with the Hound once again.
Right.
So maybe that would make more sense. I'm not sure, but
Brienne was looking for Sansa, right?
Yeah.
Sansa,
but initially she was tasked with both of them, right?
So I mean, it would be cool if Brienne met up with her, but I don't think Arya would want to team up with someone that like Brienne.
Well, that's why I don't even think she's going to team up with anyone. That's why I don't think she would go north. She'd just go after Cersei.
She's like, yo, what up? I'm going to go kill this queen real quick.
She's a cold-blooded killer.
Yeah.
I don't think she really cares about anything else right now.
Well, it does.
As far as we can tell.
It does seem like she is at least heading somewhat north, unless winter really does settle in down in King's Landing by the end of the season, which, I mean, it might. It seems like the White Walkers need to be able to... they're going to probably overtake the wall, or at least come close.
Either break through the magic or the wall comes down or something.
Right, so it's going to push the people in the north-south, but we'll be getting to that in a little bit. So Arya kind of just heading around, maybe gonna kill.
Not sure what
people.
order of her travels go, but right now I'd assume she's independent.
She's got some names to cross off.
Correct.
What about the other Stark, Brandon?
Yes.
So last time we see him, he's just kind of being dragged around, right? Or did he have a wheelchair by then?
Well, no. He gets one in the trailer, right?
That's what.
Yeah. Well, no. Remember, Benjen helped save him post hold the door.
Hold the door.
And basically escorted him and Mira to like a weirwood right outside one of the Night's Watch old castles by the wall. That's where he finds out that Jon is in fact Rhaegar's son, right? So Bran's got to be meeting up with Jon soon. I don't think Bran doesn't have anything to do beyond the wall at this point. He's already the three-eyed raven. He already can, green sea and warg around. So,
do you think Bran is going to be the one that tells Jon about his heritage?
It's a good question. He's definitely going to tell them some stuff because everything he's experienced, seeing the Night's King and stuff like that.
They have a lot of catching up to do.
I'm really interested to see how that gets broken to everyone. Jon's true parentage, or if that gets broken. Brandon's like, oh, by the way, you're not actually my brother. Dad lied the whole time.
Right. Well, in thinking about it, it's been how many years in this show? 7 years, something like that.
I think a little less, but
less, maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Jon Snow has died, been resurrected. Bran has become the three-eyed raven. Jon is now king in the north. When they meet up, they have a lot of catching up to. They need to have a long conversation, but they're probably not going to have a lot of time for stuff like that. They're going to have to kind of jump in and make a lot of moves because it seems like the White Walkers are moving pretty quickly, but also moving pretty quickly. Dany.
Oh, yeah. Well, funny because she moved very slowly for years.
For the first 5 seasons. And then suddenly she's like, oh, I'm just going to cross this ocean real quick.
Yeah, she's got Varys with her now, Tyrion, of course, Theon and Yara Greyjoy, and then we also know that sympathizers to her cause, Olenna Tyrell, with the remaining Tyrell forces, and Alaria Sand, all the Dorne people.
Right.
So Dany's got quite the support base as she's finally moving over to Westeros.
Yeah, and she's got 3 huge fucking dragons, which basically trump card for everything.
Drogon is a boss.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big boy.
It looks like they carved out a decent CGI budget too, because it looks like there's a lot of dragons in this season.
It doesn't bode well for the dire wolves. Which there's one left, Snow.
She's been gone for a while.
Yeah, Jon's. And then.
Well, what about Arya's?
Or Sansa's.
And
Arya's Nymeria.
Right.
Yeah.
Nymeria's been
perhaps
just roaming around, right?
In the Riverlands. In the books, there's talk of a big wolf leading a pack of other wolves. So
that would be very pleasing.
There's hints that Nymeria is very much still kicking in the books.
Seeing Maisie
wolf reunion.
Yeah, seeing Arya riding on top of a huge wolf into battle would be a pretty boss image. So Dany is heading with Tyrion, who basically has been advising her, helping her.
Yeah, he doesn't really bring anything else besides his own knowledge and smarts.
Yeah, just a really intelligent guy. Moving towards his siblings, Jaime and Cersei. Now, where did we leave off with them last season? Because they basically stole the show in the last episode of season 5.
Right.
6.
Specifically Cersei.
Yeah.
She blows up the Great Sept of Baelor and all the wildfire. It's really, the fact that she kind of reset the board, especially down there in the political hub of Westeros, kills the High Sparrow, Lancel, and assumingly all or not or most of the Faith Militant, which was such a huge aspect of the plot, right? Because they were controlling everything down there. Marjorie and Loras Tyrell, as well as their dad Mace, who's on the Small Council. Kevin Lannister, her uncle, who. Obviously her dad's brother is important to the family.
Not the only family member casualty of this, though. Her own son.
And
killed himself.
Tommen is driven to suicide, overseeing everything.
Great gif.
And Qyburn has Pycelle got in the stomach a few times by the little birds. So it's been condensed down there, as well as all the other random lords and nobles that were in the church. And now she's very different down there.
And now she's got that lady from the Faith Militant.
Septa Nunella. Yeah.
Just tied up, basically a sex slave to the mountain, or the zombie mountain at this point.
Right. If you think about how King's Landing has gone throughout the show, it's always been the place where the majority of people their name are there.
Right.
But now it's just Cersei, Jaime and Bronn just got there, the Mountain, and Qyburn.
Right.
And Septim Unel is a prisoner. There's really no one else that you even know the name of in King's Landing now.
Well, unless Arya decides to go there.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So, how does Jaime feel about all this, though? Because
That's a good question.
I think the last scene we've seen of them is basically Cersei sitting on the Iron Throne, Jaime looking at her from like the rafters or like up in the crowd, and then she's kind of like walking away with kind of a disgusted, upset, not so sure look.
Yeah.
How's he feeling about all this?
I think that's the key question: is what happens with Jaime, because he's been so loyal to Cersei this whole time, but then seeing how she basically drove their last child to be dead. And the prophecy,
all three of them.
All three are dead. Yeah. But then just seeing her like, I think change. Like she always was really nasty and driven to really do whatever she wanted for her kids. But now that her kids are gone, like what does she have left to fight for?
Right.
And where does Jaime stand on that side of the coin? Because you see in the trailer, he's riding a horse with a spear and everything's on fire, which easy guess is that's the target. Dany's force is fighting the Lannisters. Yep. So I don't think he's immediately going to turn coat on Cersei. But at the same time, he's definitely going to be a foil to her, I think.
Yeah, I think that's basically where it's headed to. I mean, it seems like a lot of this is going to take place in Castle Rock, though. At least when the Targaryens first arrive. So you have to imagine he's probably going to be headed out there to probably lead the forces. I imagine, then maybe come back and.
Well, I don't. If you look,
or do you think it's gonna be like a sneak attack? They're just gonna.
No, well, I think they're gonna go to Dragonstone first, because that's you see Dany when she's walking. You know that the map, like the raised map where Stannis used to be. That's Dragonstone. That's the Targaryen seat that Stannis controlled since Robert's Rebellion, and then since Stannis has been gone, it's been nebulously assumed under Lannister control.
Is that the throne you see her sitting on in the trailer?
Yeah. That's probably where she would make her base and land. But that's also not that far from King's Landing. So Casterly Rock's kind of on the other side. That's in the Westerland. So I'm not sure if Casterly Rock gets involved right away. Maybe they attack that. Don't go after King's Landing.
Well, that's the actual birthplace of the Lannisters, correct?
Yeah, that's their seat.
So maybe that would be a fitting place for them to kind of end this conflict.
Yeah, maybe they retreat there. That's a good point. Also, you got to factor in that Euron Greyjoy, Theon and Yara's uncle, who we only met him last season. He wanted to go to team up with Dany and basically become his her man. Right. But Theon and Yara got there first, pledged their ships. Yeah. So Euron's still out there with more ships, right? I assume he's gonna see Cersei as a very easy and convenient ally, and Cersei be like, "Hey, I actually could use some help. I don't have that many allies in terms of men."
I don't think if you're Euron, you want to be teaming up against Dany at this point, but he seems like a crazy fuck, though.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just going to try to get back at Theon and Yara.
Right, they're definitely going to fight. Right. And obviously, it'd be on open sea, so I'm curious to see how long that takes the resolution, Euron being a outside force. Maybe he delays Dany from actually landing and doing much in Westeros because he's attacking them at sea, Right.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I mean, it's going to be interesting because I know that you mentioned this to me, that there was a report that he's going to make, what's his name? The Battle of Bastards, not Jon Snow. I'm blanking his name.
Ramsay?
Yeah, fucking Ramsay, Jesus Christ. That he's going to make Ramsay look like peanuts in terms of like a villain. Right. So I can't imagine that, though.
Perhaps he captures Yara or Theon. It would make, in terms of the show, Theon meeting his end this season. I could definitely see that.
I don't know. It would just be so Game of Thrones for him to be make it to the very end,
Well, it's not actually the very end,
Well, right, but for Theon just to not die throughout the course of the show, just somehow survive it. One person I think I'm most interested to see what's going to happen with them is Melisandre. Yep. So last time we saw her, Davos confronted her, somehow finding a wooden figurine that belonged to Stannis' daughter, Shireen, who she told Stannis, "Yeah, you gotta burn her at the stake, man.
Sacrifice to R'hllor."
And
Lord Light.
Somehow this little wooden figurine didn't burn in this huge bonfire. and Davos just happened to stumble on it 2 years later. I feel like that's kind of.
And I don't think it was that far away.
You don't think it was that far?
I mean, if you looked at the scene, like it was just all like it was like a fire pit, like at a campfire. Like it was still there. It wasn't covered over. I think there wasn't much passage of time.
You don't think a lot of time passed? You think it was like maybe like a month?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like that much time passed.
Interesting.
But either way, she's been exiled by Jon, so she's head south. She's definitely gonna cross paths with Thoros They're going north. She's going wherever. They're both red priests, so they definitely have to talk. It's a good question because Thoros Barrack, the Hound, they're definitely going north. Melisandre would be like, yeah, Jon's our guy, but I can't help you guys anymore. I don't know. Maybe she's going to see Dany. I don't know. She probably wouldn't know Dany was coming yet, though.
I wonder what her role is gonna be moving.
I think it's coming to the end.
You think so? Mm-hmm. Do you think she'll meet her demise this season?
Well, some people have to, right? I mean, again, they did a lot of condensing last season, which makes sense as the conflicts kind of merge and become more linear.
And as the show just
that needs that needs to keep coming. There can't be a million people left when it's really just humans versus the White Walkers, right? Mm-hmm. So someone like Melisandre, who's already been very influential and done a lot throughout the course of the show, can make sense. Just like I said, someone like Theon, who has just kind of been a victim of his own failure as a man.
Just being a horrible person, pretty much. Yeah.
So I can see it on both sides like that.
Well, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Is there any other characters we haven't touched on yet that you think are important to shout out here or tell our listeners about?
Yeah, well, you think about Dany, and like even if she's stalled by Euron, obviously, in the end they will triumph. Whether that means Theon and Yara both die, who knows? But they will get through. They have the rest of the Tyrells, which they're from the south, as well as all of Dorne behind them, plus all the Dothraki and the Unsullied and Trace Dragonos. So once they are landed on Westeros, wherever they go, Castle Rock or King's Landing, it's not going to go too well for the Lannister army, and you can kind of see hints of that in the trailer.
Right.
So I'm really curious to see how far Dany actually goes. I think maybe the season will end. I'm pretty certain that the season ends with whoever's leading the Lannisters is gone. Mm-hmm. Cersei probably dies. Perhaps Jaime survives because he's more sympathetic to other people by that point. But I think the Lannister, status as like the bad guys, they're gone. They're not a player anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think they're definitely going to be gone. Dany and Jon have to meet up as something.
I think that's the end. Very end is because Jon. You look at the trailer. Jon is going to probably find something out from Sam or Melisandre, whoever it is. Go north of the wall, guy, get something, and then
Tormund meets his end. Then, unfortunately,
yeah, probably, and then he finds out that Dany's there. By now, he probably knows that he's Targaryen.
Right.
They have to meet because they probably need to team up.
Yeah, and then the last shot's probably going to be the White Walkers finally getting past the wall, moving south, and like Dany and Jon Snow and Tyrion all standing together, something like that.
Yeah, probably.
Three heads of the dragon right there. Yeah, supposedly the theory goes.
Littlefinger probably meeting his end as well.
Yeah, who do you think kills him? Because in the trailer, you see Jon like strangle the dude.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, who kills who, right?
I mean, Arya though, right?
Arya kills Littlefinger.
You think so?
No,
There was a picture posted recently by I think it was Us Weekly of all the Starks in costume.
Plus Jon.
But in it, she didn't have needles. She had the cat claw sword from Littlefinger. Arya did.
That dagger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's a good thought. I mean, I don't see Sansa 180ing at this point. She seems to really have taken what he said. And Jon, I don't know if Jon himself would make sense either.
Right.
But yeah, that's a good one. Also, Cersei, I think the same way. Arya probably will try. Mm-hmm. Probably not going to be Jaime, even if he wouldn't be that sad about it in the end.
But do you think Arya would wear Jaime's face to get something like this done?
That'd be something crazy.
Yeah, that would be pretty crazy.
And I mean, obviously, we were trying to predict all this stuff, and so much stuff will change. It's almost a fool's errand. But
this is why we do this.
Of course,
this is why it's fun.
I wonder if Benjen shows up because he's already on the other side of the wall. Maybe
Right.
Jon will
Isn't he,
reunite with Benjen. Season 1, last time they met.
And didn't he say he was going to tell Jon something when they met up?
Yeah, just like Ned said, I'll tell you more about your mom next time we meet.
You don't want to talk to Jon and say, hey, guess what? We'll talk again.
Right.
Like, just get it all out then. So, yeah, we talked a lot about kind of who joins up with who. Which conflict do you feel like you're most excited for this season?
I really want to... Oh, man.
The Jaime Cersei stuff's going to be pretty heavy.
I think whatever Jon's trying to do beyond the wall is probably more like interesting and intriguing.
Right.
But I think just finally seeing Dany and crew wreck shop in the open field is going to be awesome.
Just seeing the dragons just
I'm not
light it up.
Last year, remember, I said I wasn't like a huge Dany person.
Right.
Just because like I thought she was kind of a shitty leader a lot. Mm-hmm. And also being in Marine forever didn't help matters. But now that she can just kind of chill on Drogon. Right. And just be like, go forth, my pretties, you know, kill everybody.
It's gonna be it's gonna be awesome to see them just like light up fields of people. Mm-hmm. And they're massive, dude. Like you see that shot of like Drogon with his wings out flying over the horses, and he takes up like,
all the shadow he causes.
It's amazing.
Also, someone we didn't mention, and it's pretty certain that his arm is in the trailer. Jorah.
Yeah.
Grace scaled the fuck out by now.
Yeah, he's not
becoming a stone man.
But
he's still in Essos. He's across the sea still.
Don't they lose their mind when they become stone men? Like you saw Tyrion when he was on the ship going.
That's how Jorah got it from them. Yeah, they become like semi-sentient, you know, monsters.
So you think he's gonna go after?
Well, no, I don't think he becomes a stone man yet. And he told Dany that he would end it before it got that far when they last meet again. But yeah, what is he gonna do?
I don't know. Because,
I mean, Dario's also out there, but again, I mean, like, is Dario really going to come with the second sons across the sea and be like, hey, reinforcements that you only kind of need? Like, that's not worth it for the story. So what is Jorah going to do? I
can't even, like, venture
unless we just watch him die. I don't know.
Unless he has, like, he finds out some sort of information that he can, like, bring to Dany or somebody.
Which he would love to do.
Would be helpful. Yeah, that would be really interesting. You know, I think the conflict I'm most excited to see is how things play out between Jon, Sansa, and Littlefinger. Because really, when you think about it, like the Starks, they're going to meet up and they're all going to get together and they all seem to have a common goal of like, we need to reunite and then like, we need to do what's best for whatever's going on. Like, that's just the way that they think. They're very loyal soldiers. Sansa seems to be kind of kicking that around because she's so influenced by Littlefinger in a way that her mom never was, really. I mean, Cat made bad decisions based on it, but she never really got that like sneakiness like that Littlefinger kind of gave to Sansa when she's like, oh yeah, send your brother into battle, we'll show up with reinforcements right at the right time. But I mean, maybe we won't. Like if he had come 10 minutes later, Jon Snow's dead.
Narrative.
Yeah, but think about that. Think about that. So there's a real potential to see that kind of fall apart. And if Jon does go north of the wall, that leaves Sansa in power at that time.
Yep, definitely.
And maybe even with her other two siblings underneath her, like Arya and Bran.
Yeah, I think Bran is just going to team up and be Jon's like guy now.
You think so?
You see in the trailer like a flock of ravens flying over a bunch of whites, and the raven closest to the shot has an all-white eye.
Oh, gotcha.
So I think in that instance, Jon's warging.
Gotcha.
Doing some recon for Jon.
Right.
But yeah, once, again, we said Bran's very close to meeting up with them. Certainly going to happen. He reveals to Jon what he's found out or not. Either way, they're going to be together and very happy to be. But Bran's not just going to, chill in the silence. He has these powers, and all that matters to him is what's beyond the wall.
Right.
And that also is what Jon cares about. So I think naturally those two will be working together for whatever that mission is for Jon.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. It's going to be really cool to see how Bran kind of comes into this because he's been kind of on the sidelines.
Agreed.
He got a much bigger role last year than the other couple seasons for multiple reasons, but he's going to be a huge character moving forward, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, exactly. About time. Initially, they couldn't advance his character too much. They let everything else happen. Right. So he's doing a lot of traveling, right? Mm-hmm. But now he's finally coming to his own full understanding of his powers, and now he can help Jon just when he needs him.
So one thing that I think a lot of people were talking about from the trailer that I think might be interesting to see is Beric.
Yeah.
So you see Beric with a flaming sword.
Lightbringer.
Yeah, which is a fucking awesome shot where it's just like it's kind of like a lightsaber almost in a way where he holds it and then the flame goes up. So
fucking
dope.
Badass.
But why is he wielding a sword with fire on it?
Well,
he's to beat the White Walkers.
Well, no, he's had that sword. That's part of his legend.
Okay.
Yeah, remember he fights the Hound with it.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. But so Beric's coming back, which we haven't seen him since season 2.
Well, no,
he fights the Hound in season.
That's season 3.
Season 3.
The middle of season 3, and he goes away.
Right.
But then they come back at the end of last season where he meets up with the Hound at the end.
Okay.
And Beric and Thoros are like, we're going north. Sandor, he should come with us, and Clegane's like, fuck it, fine. So that's why they're all headed north right now.
I barely remember the Hound's
it wasn't much. It was like 1 episode or 1.5 episodes.
Was that the one where there was like a bottle episode basically?
Well, remember Ian McShane was in it briefly.
Okay, that was that.
Then he dies at the end. That motivates the Hound to get back into the thick of things.
What's going to be happening with them though?
Well, I think they're just joining up for the fight because they understand the big picture. And you see Beric with that shot in the snowy tundra. Right. You also see a picture of the Hound all snowy, like in his beard and hair and stuff.
So you think they're going to be going with Jon Snow?
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
But we also see, assumingly, the Hound in another shot where it's not snowy, so maybe he does survive that mission.
Well, I guess that leads to maybe even something people are more excited about if you're a fan of the show, the possible Clegane Bowl, which people have been talking about.
Right. Sandor Clegane, the Hound, Gregor Clegane, the Mountain, brothers that despise each other.
And they're just enormous. Just big people. It's going to be a great battle.
Oberyn poisoned the Mountain, but he didn't die. We thought the Hound died, but he didn't die.
Yeah,
now they have to fight.
But do you really want to see that at this point? I mean, it's a zombie mountain versus the Hound who's been through a lot of shit at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think it's nearly as exciting as it used to be, the prospect of this.
Well, I think that's kind of like what's left for closure with those characters, besides the Hound also meeting up with Arya one last time. And again, you have to clear the board. So that's a good way to do it.
And that would have to happen before Dany gets to the
right. Yeah, it's a question about how the timing works. Right. Judging by that shot in the trailer that we thought was the dragon pit, that's in King's Landing, and there was Lannister guardsmen. You see the lion on a shield. So unless that wasn't the Hound,
be interesting.
You'd have to survive the snow mission. So yeah, I'm not sure.
So this is kind of like a deep dive theory, almost in a way, maybe not too much, but there's been talk about this fabled character, Azor Ahai.
Yeah, the prince that was promised. He's got a lot of different names for a bunch of different prophecies and stuff.
Is it Jon Snow?
Yeah, seems pretty likely. Yeah.
So would that make Bran the Builder?
No. That's just a red herring. I think Bran the Builder was an ancient character who built the wall. Now, unless they really want to go and say that Bran totally can circumvent time and space, and he actually was the Bran that built the wall way back then, just like he was the one who ended up fucking up Hodor's brain, perhaps, but I'm not sure.
He was the one that ended up fucking up Hodor's brain. It's a great way to put it.
The way George R.R. Martin writes all those books is he leaves so much evidence for so many different threads that you can talk yourself into every single one of them. Yeah. But you also have to realize that not all of them can be true.
And you're never going to get
Bran the Builder is one of them I don't actually buy.
And you're never going to get another book.
Nope, that's true.
So...
we'll get one more book, because that one's assumingly almost done. It's the next book, though, that probably doesn't come out for 12 years.
12 years? Talk about 20, dude.
It's bad.
He just keeps getting older. He's not getting younger. All right, so what did we miss so far? What do you feel like is important to talk about that we haven't touched on?
Gendry! They saw him in Belfast, going to the set. He's coming back. Is he going to go chill with Sam and learn how to forge Valyrian steel? Is he going to meet up with Arya one last time? I don't know. Those are the only two people that make sense for me. Does he see Melisandre again? He's like, bitch, you tried to kill me. Sacrifice me. Maybe he kills Melisandre.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
He's not that important, of course. Know. But again, they're just going to closure because he couldn't have just been rowing forever.
Right. I don't know, man. It's, there's so much potential for the show. And like you said, after 2 episodes, all this is going to change and all these other theories are going to come out. I recommend that you don't deep dive too much into the theories I think they're fun to get into, but just kind of enjoy the show. Read like the main articles about it. I think you can do a little bit of deep diving, but if you get like lost in like the Reddit, like the Game of Thrones Reddit, your head just will explode.
I don't actually find it as bad as the books because the show is already way past the books, and the show isn't quite as expansive,
right?
Like a swarm of bees as the books. So I think it's a little easier to grasp. The theories are more grounded and kind of make sense. But yeah, I mean, how's the wall come down? Is there an ice dragon in the middle of the wall this whole time that's been sleeping?
An ice dragon in the middle of the wall?
Don't buy it, but there's a really good case that there is one.
I heard about...
Just like there's a good case for a lot of stuff.
I heard about these ice dragons. So I'm really excited to see... That'll probably be season 8, most likely. But
perhaps the ice dragon bursts out of the wall at the very end. And then the Night's King's like, yeah, bitch, I got dragons too.
Yeah, bitch. Also, I mean, just so many characters that could go in so many different directions. It's definitely going to be interesting.
Right.
But it's been fun to grow with the show. Like, obviously, like I said, I caught on for season 5. But, like, for people that have been watching, like, you've seen some of these characters go from literally being, like, 13s now adults. Like, 18-year-olds.
Right. Yeah, the actors age, right. Obviously.
Yeah, like Bran.
The characters aren't supposed to be that old. The show generally ages everybody up. Bran was like I think 8 or 9, and is only should be a few years older. But Isaac Hempstead went through puberty and hit a big growth spurt since the show started, so he looks much older. But again, that's TV making. It's all good.
Absolutely. Any last thoughts for the season? Any last predictions?
Just thinking about Brienne, right? She's in the Riverlands. She was just with all the people in the north, right? Remember, Sansa sent her back down to try and get the Blackfish. That's why she went to Riverrun in the first place. Maybe she goes south and tries to see Jaime again. They did talk at Riverrun, and then they get waved when she was paddling away. But
maybe she saves him and brings him back up for the final season.
I'm not convinced that she just goes up with the north. We got a ton of characters in the north right now. And again, Brienne is she has her own code and. Having done or failed to recruit the Blackfish to that timing, she doesn't have any, sworn oath to abide by. So what will she do? But her relationship with Jaime is the strongest of anything she's done. So,
is Stannis dead?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
she cut his head off. It just didn't happen on screen.
Yeah, they usually show it though. They'll usually show something to give evidence, and they didn't, which leaves that door just a little.
Perhaps
bit open.
He'll become a white.
That'd be crazy.
Because she only. I don't know, cut his arm off instead. I don't know.
Just let him bleed out.
She did decapitate him, then he's gone.
She just poked him in the jugular and put him in a sleeper hold, something like that. I don't know. It's going to be a fun season though. Stay up to date with us. We'll be talking about the first episode, I'm sure, in some way next week. And we'll also be catching up on music, movies, because we had to put everything aside to give you your mid-year review and then your Game of Thrones preview. So,
Baby Driver, Spider-Man, Planet of the Apes,
Dunkirk. Yeah, a lot of movies. Hopefully we'll be able to talk about... We'll spread it out. We won't talk about all of them at once. We give...
But watch them.
Proper amount of shine. Yeah, so go spend $60 at the movies
to go
see all
titles.
Tickets. God, I was strong then. All right. Enjoy Game of Thrones. Tweet at us at NowstalgiaPod.
Winter is here.
Subscribe. And rate us on iTunes. Share with friends. We love you. Peace out.